You are Locked On Buffaloes POSTCAST, powered by Mile High Sports, part of Locked On Sports Denver on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, Buff Nation, and welcome on in to your Locked On Buffs POSTCAST. I am your host, Aniello Piro, live from number 38 in Rhino. Hope everybody is doing well out there as the Colorado Buffaloes take down the Utah Utes this afternoon, or I guess it's technically this afternoon, but the game started this morning, 49-24, your final score as the Colorado Buffaloes continue along their playoff trajectory, their Big 12 championship trajectory, with a pretty dominant victory, I would say. I know that Utah made it a little bit close there towards the end of the game, but the Colorado Buffaloes did exactly what they were supposed to do, exactly what we expected from this team throughout the course of this ball game this afternoon here up in Boulder. A lovely day in Colorado. I know I'm inside now at number 38, man, but what is it, like 55 degrees, not a cloud in the sky? I mean, for any of y'all that are watching the postcast that are not in Colorado or not from Colorado, man, look, it's the best kept secret. I remember when I first moved here, everybody was like, don't tell people how good it is here because it's just how incredible it is this time of year and really all year round. But what a scene up in Folsom Field. What a game for the Buffs as they get the job done this afternoon, 49-24, your final score. The Buffs improved to 8-2 on the year, 6-1 in the conference. Utah falls to 4-6 on the season and 1-6 in the conference. So it has been a slog, to say the least, for the Utah Utes. But guys, today's episode of your Locked On Buffs POSTCAST is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets. If you win your first $5 bet, visit FanDuel.com to get started. More from our friends over at FanDuel here in just a little bit. But drop some comments, guys. Let me know how you guys are feeling out there as the Buffaloes take down Utah. Now, only 2 regular season games left. 2 more games for the Buffs to solidify their spot in the Big 12 championship game. All the Buffs have to do to ensure that is make sure that they win those 2 games. Next week in Arrowhead against the Kansas Jayhawks, and the following week at home again, final regular season game of the season against the Oklahoma State Cowboys. And kind of a couple big picture thoughts as we kind of get working here on your Locked On Buffs POSTCAST is I was talking about it on the Mile High Sports pregame show. I was talking about it with some folks here at number 38. When the schedule first came out, I actually don't remember exactly when it came out, but like late July, early August, right, when you kind of start looking towards what's going to happen, what the record might be. You know, everybody loves to go around with the schedule, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. I had this game as a loss before the season. And obviously, you know, both of these teams, Colorado and Utah, going in completely opposite trajectories throughout the course of this college football season. And Utah has had, a bevy of injuries. It was Zach Wilson's brother, Isaac Wilson, out there today for Utah, against Colorado. And I know there was some hesitation, some questions about whether or not he would end up playing in this game. He does. And, he was fine. But this Buffs defense just rose to the occasion today. Shedeur Sanders, I'll talk about the interception. I'll talk about his play a majority of the second segment. Shedeur Sanders is doing what Shedeur Sanders does. Travis Hunter, I think I might have to do a whole segment on this. Can you guys see this on the screen? Whoop, whoop, whoop. Little Heisman action for Travis Hunter. I think Travis Hunter, seriously, guys, I think he solidified himself as the 2024-2025 Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, what he's able to do, played virtually every single snap throughout the course of this game up until the last garbage drive there for Utah, which ultimately ended the game. I mean, when it matters, he's out there and he's making plays on both offense and defense. But going back to the point that I said before the year, I thought that, this was going to be a very, very tough matchup for Colorado. Again, I've said it on this postcast before. I've said it on the SCO show on the Mile High Sports YouTube channel that entering this season, my expectations, I feel like, I don't want to say they were tempered, but I know there's a lot of people that love to drink the Kool-Aid, right, myself included at this point in time, that this Colorado Buffaloes team was going to go all the way to the top. I was a little like, let's pump the brakes, like, let's see them do it. They did win 4 games last year, but what they have done this season, is nothing short of spectacular. And I'm not trying to talk in absolutes. There's still 2 regular season games to go. There's a Big 12 championship game to go, and then hopefully multiple playoff games to go before we can even talk about putting a bow on this season for the Colorado Buffaloes. But knowing what Utah was, I believe they had an 11-2 record, at least going back, what was that, probably 13-ish years against Colorado. Historically, Utah has absolutely owned Colorado, including last year, and I believe that was the game that Shedeur Sanders did not play in. But what does Colorado do today? What does Colorado do today? They flex on the Utah Utes, 49-24, your final score. I mean, they just absolutely demolished Utah. I mean, take a look at this on offense today for the Colorado Buffaloes. 405 yards of total offense compared to just 272 yards of total offense for Utah. They beat Utah. Did Colorado in the first down department, 17 for 15, a little shaky with their third down efficiency. Colorado was only 3-11, but frankly, that didn't matter. They went 2 for 2, on their fourth down efficiency. 340 passing yards for Shedeur Sanders. 340 passing yards. He was 30 for 41 today, an average of 8.3 yards per completion. That's right on par, essentially within spitting distance of a first down. If you look at it that way, every single time that Shedeur Sanders, drops back to pass. The one interception in the game, which he had earlier on the first play of the game, actually, I'll talk about that in the second segment. Colorado's rushing game, virtually, not a massive factor, only 65 yards on the ground today, but that's kind of what you come to expect with this team. 5 penalties today, and they actually lost the time of possession battle. Utah dominated. That's the one aspect of this game that Utah dominated, was the TOP. 35 minutes and 38 seconds of time of possession for Utah compared to just 24 minutes and 22 seconds for the Colorado Buffaloes. But what's the old saying? The cream rises to the top. And I think that's what you've been seeing. Look, the 2 losses for the Buffs this year, Nebraska. I don't even want to say Nebraska was Nebraska was the better team that day. I've got my bias aside. Nebraska was the better team against Colorado in that matchup. What was that, week 2, week 3 of the season, I want to say. But since then, 2 opposite trajectories. Colorado goes up and up and up and up. Nebraska hasn't even clinched a playoff game. And then Kansas State, tip of the cap, give credit where credit is due. They're a great program in respect to their own right. But Colorado, as I said today on the Mile High Sports pregame show, all they had to do to win this game today was control what they could control. And that's exactly what the Buffs did. Early interception for Shedeur Sanders, but really from that moment on, didn't really blink. Let Utah kind of get back into it there in the second half just a little bit, but never to the point that I personally felt like this game was in any sort of danger for the Colorado Buffaloes, as they get the job done, man, in big-time fashion. Again, today, your final score, 49-24. 2 games remaining for the regular season schedule for CU, and everything is in front of them. And I think that's the best thing. If you would have told me before the year, Aniello, on November the 16th, CU would now be 8-2 and in prime position, no pun intended, to make the college football playoff, to make the Big 12 championship game and potentially win that game, I would have told you you're crazy. But again, that's because I expected Utah. That's because I expected Oklahoma State. That's because I expected Kansas all to be better than they have been this year. And again, going back to what I just said about controlling what you can control, all Coach Prime and this Buffs team have done throughout the course of this season is keep their head down and go to work. And you saw that today. I've said it a handful of times throughout the course of the season as well that last year for CU felt a little bit theatrical. Like, this year is still definitely almost like a reality TV show. Everything with Coach Prime is, right? You got the cameras anywhere. You've got all the media that's doing all the coverage on YouTube and all that great stuff. Anyone watching on YouTube right now, thank you very much for tuning in. But it feels like they have a much more refined focus this season to the Colorado Buffaloes. Shedeur throws that interception, they don't blink. They just keep on one foot in front of the other, run up 49 points. They should have hung 60 points on Utah today, if we're being completely honest with ourselves. And that, to me, has been the biggest difference from this version of the Colorado Buffaloes and Coach Prime's team compared to last year's version of the team, is they understand what the mission is and how they're going to go about doing their business. And today, that's exactly what you saw. As in my opinion, this is a formality. Colorado taking down the Utah Utes. Your final score, 49-24. Again, Colorado now 8-2 on the year. Most importantly, 6-1 in the conference. Utah falls to 4-6. They are a mere 1-6 in the conference. But you love to see it. All right, let me hit my first break, guys. When we come back, let's continue along with the conversation, talking a little Shedeur Sanders. Let's highlight that offense. Let's highlight that defense a little bit. And I think I'll end the show with my Travis Hunter for Heisman statement, my State of the Union on the Locked On Buffs postcast, why Travis Hunter is going to win the Heisman Trophy. Because at this point, to me, there is no question whatsoever. Today, with that sick reverse touchdown at the end of the game, he has solidified himself as the Heisman Trophy winner this season. So drop some comments. Let me know how you're feeling out there, Buff Nation. Let's go. A big win for the Buffs as they take down Utah 49-24. Hit a quick break, come back, and do just that right here on your Locked On Buffs postcast. Back in just a moment, folks. All right, you guys, let me tell you about our friends over at Omaha Steaks. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. This year, skip the holiday hustle and bustle and save 50% off gourmet gifts site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, get a $30 reward card when you shop early and score an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE. With 5 generations of experience, they've consistently delivered the world's best steak experience, and the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated packages starting at $89.99. From legendary steaks to mouthwatering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners, that's you, Locked On Buff Nation, get an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE and a $30 reward card when you shop early. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com. That's OMAHA steaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE. Minimum purchase does apply, but guys, I'm an active Omaha Steaks user. Just about each Christmas, so I'm sure I'm getting a little Omaha Steaks care package from some members of my family. If you don't know, like I'm one sometimes that doesn't know how to shop for other people. Like I know my family, right? But it's like, what do you want to get someone, right? Like, what do people like? Who doesn't like a good cut of beef? Who doesn't like shrimp skewers? Who doesn't like lobster skewers? Because our friends over at Omaha Steaks are going to have you covered with the perfect gift for the holiday season. Again, guys, get 50% off at omahasteaks.com and get an extra $30 off with promo code COLLEGE. I mean, that to me sounds like one heck of a deal. You don't got to worry about the recipient of your gift being, wishy-washy or upset, and you get some good grub along the way. So be sure to check out our friends over at Omaha Steaks, guys. Proud sponsor of your Locked On Buffs postcast. Like I said, yes, I've got to do the ad read, but I will also personally endorse Omaha Steaks because it's that good. So be sure to check out our friends over at Omaha Steaks. Let them know that Locked On Buffs sent you, and enjoy your beef this holiday season, folks. All right, welcome on back into your Locked On Buffs postcast. I am your host, Aniello Piro. Hope everybody is doing well out there on this 16th of November, right around 2 o'clock local time here in the Mile High City as the Colorado Buffaloes take care of business against the Utah Utes. They're currently the 17th ranked team in the country of the Buffs. I expect that number to dwindle a little bit as they move higher and higher up into the rankings. 49-24, your final score. And do me a favor, guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. It helps me out a ton as I'm building up this channel brick by brick, all by myself. Make sure to subscribe if you want Locked On Buffs, Broncos, Nuggets. I did Nuggets last night. I got Broncos tomorrow. Obviously, I'm doing Buffs right now. So like that video, subscribe, and you guys can also follow me on social media at Media by AP. But let's get into some of these stats today for the Buffs on offense, man. I mean, they were just absolutely phenomenal. Shedeur Sanders, 30 for 41, 340 passing yards, 8.3 yards per reception, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. And let's talk about that interception for just a moment. It comes on the first play of the game. And Shedeur under pressure, which is, been a bit of a common denominator, right? We know that pressure, has not – Colorado's done a much better job offensively, specifically on the offensive line, at limiting the pressure from opposing teams' defenses. But we still know that, there's a bit of an adjustment for them to make on the offensive line. And I think that's what you've seen is Colorado's offensive line, and more so in particular, their defense have just been better and better and better and better as all of these games have played out. That's what's been most exciting to me. But Shedeur under pressure, the receiver was open, but unable to get the right loft on the ball that Shedeur needed in order to complete that pass. But he throws that interception to start the game off. And I don't know about y'all. Like, go ahead and drop a comment on the YouTube stream if you guys feel otherwise. Even with that interception, you know what my first thought was? I'm going to get a better live price on the Buffs. I had no doubts that they were going to win this game today. Not that I said the interception was good, but I'm sitting here like, all right, Buffs are probably going to drop in the odds a little bit. Let me dip in on that. And from that moment on, man, I think you saw Shedeur Sanders doing a really good job of controlling this offense, setting the tone within this offense, and just getting the job done without Jimmy Horn Jr., who's missed now a couple of games for the Colorado Buffaloes. We hope all is well with Jimmy as he's on the path to recovery. But, you know, Shedeur, like I said, just absolutely phenomenal today. 30 for 41, 340 passing yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. The rushing game today for Colorado got the job done. Isaiah Augusta, who's kind of solidified himself as running back 1 for the Colorado Buffaloes. He's 7 carries for 59 yards on the ground and 1 touchdown. So that's the thing here that's interesting too, folks, is Shedeur Sanders throws for an average of 8.3 yards per reception, but in the 7 carries that Isaiah Augusta had in this game today, he was also averaging nearly a first down with 8.4 yards per rush, and he was really the lone guy for the Buffs offense today. Dallin Hayden only had 6 yards rushing. Travis Hunter, believe it or not, 5 yards rushing in the touchdown. Like I said, we'll talk a little Travie at the end of the game here today. That's where that touchdown rush came from there in the red zone. How about Charlie Offerdahl, though? How about Charlie Offerdahl? His first touchdown as a member of the Colorado Buffaloes this season, one of the few players that was kept on the roster from this season or from years past to now the Coach Prime era. I mean, you've got to love Charlie Offerdahl finding the red zone. My boy Danny Bailey, drop in the comments. Best in the biz, Scope Buffs. Appreciate you tuning in live, my friend. Always appreciate the comments. Let me know how you guys are feeling out there, Buff Nation. What are your thoughts on the win today for Colorado as they take down Utah 49-24? But again, the rushing attack, Shedeur was a -9. You know, that is the one criticism that I have of Shedeur Sanders is he certainly holds onto the ball way too long, right? But you kind of have that luxury when you have all the riches and the wide receivers and the depth and this and that. But going back to the running game, not that I feel like, how do I say this? I'm a big believer that running the ball is absolutely essential in setting up the pass for the offense. That's not, Einstein talking here. But I do think with this Colorado team, they have the tendency to be a pass-first team, which naturally they should be. But even in the limited touches today, see what Isaiah Augusta was able to give you guys on the ground. 7 carries, 59 yards. Maybe on paper doesn't look like this explosive type of play, but what it does is it helps open everything else up for the offense. You know who benefited from that today? You know the one guy that really benefited today from Shedeur Sanders and this offense and the balance that they were able to establish to an extent was Draylon Miller. His best game of the season by far. 6 receptions for 108 yards for Draylon Miller. A touchdown reception for him, which was incredible. 18 yards per reception. A couple of big plays this afternoon for Draylon Miller. LaJohntay Wester, not too shabby. He had 10 receptions for 77 yards himself. And Will Sheppard leading the day for the Colorado Buffaloes offensively, at least in scoring production. He has 5 receptions for 71 yards and 2 touchdowns this afternoon for Will Sheppard. And whose name did I mention? We talked Draylon Miller. We talked LaJohntay Wester. We talked Will Sheppard. Oh, yeah, and then there's that Travis Hunter guy. Just 5 receptions for 55 yards. Not exactly what we're accustomed to from Travis Hunter, but he made his impact on defense today. Grabbed an interception. I mean, what else is there to say about Travis Hunter, man? Like I said, that touchdown pass that he scored there in the red zone, double reverse. He runs to his right, sees that there's like 4 or 5 Utah Utes defenders in front of him, zips right back, finds an opening in the middle of the field, and scores that touchdown for the Colorado Buffaloes, man. I mean, they are just so deep at the skill position players. So deep at the skill position. So you love to see it. I've been talking a lot of offense today, man, but you also got to show some love to the defense. I mean, Cameron Stillman-Craig doing his thing, 7 total tackles, 6 of them solo. Shedeur Sanders showing out. How about Nakai Hill-Green? Getting the job done as well for the Colorado Buffaloes, making an impact throughout the course of the game, man. You absolutely just love to see how this unit plays as a unit, not as individuals. Adrian Walker doing his thing. Travis J doing his thing. A lot of different guys stepping up for the Colorado Buffaloes as this team continues to improve as the season goes along. So you've got to love where this Buffs team is at right now. Again, 8-2 on the year. As long as they can take care of business, they're going to find themselves in the Big 12 championship game. They're going to find themselves in the college football playoff, which to me is a little bit mind-boggling considering where they were last year to where they are now. But that is the Coach Prime effect, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let me hit my final break. When we come back, some more closing thoughts. Travis Hunter for Heisman, some big picture stuff. We'll take a look at their last couple of games for the Buffaloes, and a special happy birthday to Miss Peggy. What a moment up there in Boulder this afternoon as the Colorado Buffaloes take down the Utah Utes 49-24, your final score. Stick with me, folks. Back in just a minute right here on your Locked On Buffs postcast. Got some ones and twos spinning in the background as well. Hope you guys are doing well. But let me tell you about our friends over at FanDuel real quick, guys, because get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get the hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And guys, I say it every time I do the read. I'm an active FanDuel user. If you live in a state where sports betting is legal and you're not on the FanDuel Sportsbook, I don't really know what to tell you, man. It is my personal favorite sportsbook. Like I said, as soon as Colorado went down early in this game, I opened up my book, Buffs down to 9.5, boom, boom, boom. Good to go. So congratulations to anybody that cashed out on the Colorado Buffaloes this afternoon as they beat the Utah Utes 49-24, your final score. I like the Broncos tomorrow. I laid -2.5 with them as the Atlanta Falcons are coming to town. So, I mean, at the end of the day, guys, if you're not betting with FanDuel, where else are you betting? Make sure to check out our friends over at FanDuel. FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Let them know that Locked On Buff sent you, and good luck on your wagers this football season. Okay, welcome on back into your Locked On Buffs postcast. I am your host, Aniello Piro. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the program. Absolute blast to be out here at number 38. We had an incredible crowd once again for our Colorado Buffaloes watch party. So if you're looking for a place to watch the games and you live in the Denver metro area, be sure to come on out to number 38 in Rhino. But also do me a favor, folks, if you're watching this stream live, make sure to smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. It does me a lot of help as I build this channel up brick by brick. Your Locked On Sports Denver YouTube channel. I got Locked On Buffs. I've got Locked On Broncos. I've got Locked On Nuggets. And we'll have some Rockies talk as well once baseball season rolls back around. You guys can also follow me on social media at Media by AP. But let's talk a little Miss Peggy here, and then I'll close with Travis Hunter. How cool is this for Miss Peggy? And I don't have they here at number 38, they have cans of water with Peggy and her late sister Betty on the can, and they have the schedule. I mean, for those of you that are maybe watching nationally that have seen Miss Peggy, you've heard, Coach Prime talking about Miss Peggy. She's the best. I mean, she's 100 years old now. You saw them singing happy birthday to her on Fox's Big Noon Kickoff. She was at the game today. She probably remembers Folsom Field before Folsom Field is what it is today, And so I want to give a shout out. I had to at least take one moment on the show today, talk about Miss Peggy and all of this season means for all of Buff Nation, but in particular Miss Peggy, as not only is she going to a bowl game, I think Coach Prime has solidified his Buffaloes team is playing in a high-quality bowl game, but let me whisper when I say this, a college football playoff game, a Big 12 championship game, something that Peggy hasn't seen. I mean, she's seen some Big 12 championship games in her time. She's seen some big-time CU Buffs games in her time. But in the year 2024, with the landscape that college football is in right now, I mean, come on, man. That's what dreams are made of. And I'm just stoked for Miss Peggy. I'm stoked for this Buffs team. And to talk a little Travis Hunter today, man, has the interception, has the touchdown, the double reverse. I know it's down to Ashton Gentry and Cam Ward, Boise State and Miami. How are you not giving this Heisman Trophy to Travis Hunter this year? Anyone have any thoughts? Drop a comment. Let me know. I'll push it up on the screen. how is Travis Hunter not your Heisman Trophy winner? Because he plays darn near every single snap in this game, has played darn near every single snap throughout the course of the season when he's healthy. And not only is he the best defensive back on the field, 9 times out of 10, he's the best wide receiver on the field, not just for the Buffs, but for both teams playing on any given Saturday. He was 50-1 odds to win the Heisman before the year, and now there'll probably be a minus next Tuesday after today. I think he's right around plus 125, plus 150 entering into this matchup today. What Travis Hunter has done, what Shedeur Sanders has done, what Robert Livingston has done is nothing short of spectacular. You know what the best part of it is? That's what the haters are doing. The haters are nowhere to be found. I feel like I started the first 4 or 5 shows this season talking about where the haters at. And now it's almost sad because they have nothing to say. The Buffs have done everything right, a lot of things right. Kayla, what up? Scope Buffs, baby. Avi, number 44. Charlie Alfredall, what's going on? But that's the thing, is this chat, the live viewership is filled with Colorado Buffaloes fans, and the haters are nowhere to be found. They popped out after the win after the loss against Nebraska. And really outside of that, because Kansas State was a close loss, they didn't really have much to say. So, kind of just in some big picture thinking, man, this season has been nothing short of spectacular. And I think today's game, as I said in the open, was a bit more of a formality. That's not to try to discredit what Utah has done throughout the course of the season. Historically in the last decade or so, a pretty darn good college football program is Utah. But today, the Colorado Buffaloes were the better team in darn near every facet of the game. Let me give you these stats one more time, guys. Shedeur Sanders, 30 for 41, 340 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Isaiah Gustav, 7 carries, 59 yards, and a rushing tutty. Draylon Miller popping off, 6 receptions for 108 yards and a touchdown. LaJonte Wester, 10 receptions for 77 yards. Will Shepard, 5 receptions for 75 yards and 2 touchdowns, including one where he goes to the defender for Utah. You're too small, buddy. Hey, you're too small, my man. That is Will Shepard. That is the Colorado Buffaloes offense, and Travis Hunter solidifying his case as the Heisman Trophy favorite with 5 receptions for 55 yards and an interception on defense. I mean, what else is there to say as the Colorado Buffaloes take care of business, taking down the Utah Utes 49-24. Before we get out of here, 2 more games. Can you believe it? Only 2 more games left in the regular season for college football. Next weekend, 1:30 p.m. local time kickoff at Kansas. That game is played at Arrowhead Stadium, so it's going to be a different environment as opposed to playing in Lawrence, right? Because Kansas State's in Manhattan, if I remember correctly. And then they'll finish the year with another early kickoff, 10 a.m. at home against Oklahoma State. Everything, absolutely, positively, everything is in front of the Colorado Buffaloes down the stretch this season. It's this simple, folks. Win the next 2 games, you're in the Big 12 championship game. Win the next 3 games, you're in the college football playoff. And I think there's a good chance that Colorado is in the college football playoff, even if they have to be competitive in that Big 12 championship game. They can't get blown out. But whether it's Iowa State, whether it's BYU, I don't know about y'all, I feel pretty good about Colorado's chances against any team in the Big 12 at this moment in time. Woof. What a time to be alive. What a time to be a Colorado Buffaloes fan. But, folks, that is going to do it for me on this afternoon's installment of your Locked On Buffs POSTCAST. Really appreciate you guys tuning in with me today. The Buffs now on a 4-game win streak. They beat Arizona. They beat Cincinnati. They beat Texas Tech. And now they beat Utah 49-24. Your final score, 2 games left in the regular season. At Kansas, at home against Oklahoma State. And we'll see where this season ends up for the Colorado Buffaloes. But guys, you can follow me on social media at Media by AP. Thank you guys so much. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and Skull Buffs, baby, man. What a game today as they look to finish this season on a strong note and get to that Big 12 championship game. But again, follow me on social at Media by AP. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you guys next week on the latest episode of your Locked On Buffs Postcast. Thank you guys for tuning in, and Skull Buffs.